Arnold wiped the grease from his calloused hands onto his worn work pants, staring at the holographic invitation his son had sent him. The neon blue letters floated in the dim light of his cramped apartment, mocking him with their elegance. "Dad, just go, please. It's one dinner." His son Marcus had pleaded over the comlink earlier that day. "I can't make it back from the Titan colonies in time, and if we miss this meeting, the contract's dead. Just ... Pretend to be me for one night." Arnold had wanted to refuse. He was a dock worker, not a smooth-talking entrepreneur like Marcus. His hands were made for loading cargo containers, not holding delicate wine glasses with alien diplomats. But Marcus's voice had carried that desperate edge that made a father's heart soften, so Arnold had agreed. Now, standing outside the Celestial Gardens restaurant, the most expensive establishment in New Houston's orbital district, Arnold felt completely out of place. His only formal clothing was a 20-year-old suit that smelled faintly of mothballs, and his boots were the same steel-toed ones he wore to the docks. Around him, elegantly dressed humans and aliens glided through the entrance like they belonged among the stars. Arnold took a deep breath and walked inside. The Motto D, a slender Valorian with skin like polished obsidian, barely concealed his disdain as he checked Arnold's reservation. "Mr. Marcus Hendricks, your companion has already arrived. Table 7. Overlooking the Earth viewport." Arnold's stomach twisted. He hadn't expected her to be early. He followed the floating guide light to table 7 and stopped dead in his tracks. The woman, no. The alien sitting at the table was unlike anything Arnold had ever seen. Carol, the Xylithian diplomat, possessed an ethereal beauty that seemed to bend light itself. Her skin shimmered with bioluminescent patterns that shifted from deep purple to soft gold, and her 4 graceful arms moved with fluid precision as she examined the menu. 2 large, multifaceted eyes dominated her angular face, reflecting the stars visible through the viewport behind her. She looked up, and Arnold felt those alien eyes assess him in an instant. "You're not Marcus Hendricks," Carol said, her voice carrying the melodic resonance typical of her species. Her translator rendered her words in perfect English, but with an accent that sounded like wind chimes. Arnold's face flushed. "No, ma'am. I'm Arnold, his father. Marcus got delayed on Titan, and he asked me to." He stopped, realizing how ridiculous this sounded. "I'm sorry, this was a mistake. I'll tell him the deal's off." He turned to leave, but Carol's voice stopped him. "Wait." Arnold turned back. Carol gestured to the seat across from her with one of her lower hands. "Sit, Arnold. If your son trusted you to represent him, then perhaps this evening need not be wasted." Arnold sat awkwardly, his large frame making the delicate chair creak. A waiter appeared immediately, some kind of floating drone-in. Carol ordered something in her native language that the translator couldn't quite catch. Arnold just asked for water. "So," Carol said, folding her hands in a complex pattern that Arnold assumed was her species' version of clasping them. "Your son's proposal was for a mining contract in the Kepler belt. He claimed human efficiency could double our current extraction rates." Arnold scratched his jaw. "Ma'am, I don't know much about mining proposals or business contracts. I load cargo for a living. Have for 30 years. Carol's luminescent patterns rippled surprise, perhaps, or amusement. "You work with your hands?" "Yes, ma'am. Down at Dock 14. Container ships, mostly." "Fascinating." Carol leaned forward, and Arnold noticed that her translator was a small, living creature wrapped around her throat, its tentacles pulsing with each word. "Tell me, Arnold, what do you think of humanity's expansion into space?" Arnold blinked. No one had ever asked him that before. He thought about it, really thought about it, while their drinks arrived. "Honestly," he said finally, "I think we're terrified. Every species we've met is stronger, faster, smarter, or more advanced than us. The Valorians mastered quantum travel while we were still fighting with sticks. The Zenthari have telepathy. The Kroanoth can survive in hard vacuum. And your people, the Xylithians, you've got civilizations spanning 1,000 star systems." Carol's patterns shifted to a deep blue. And yet we're still here," Arnold continued, warming to the subject. "We don't give up. We can't. It's not in us. We're not the best at anything, but we're decent at everything. And we work. God, do we work. 20-hour shifts, dangerous conditions, watching friends die in decompression accidents or radiation exposure. And we keep going, because what else can we do? Go back to Earth and admit we don't belong out here." He realized he was gripping his water glass too hard and set it down carefully. "Sorry, I don't usually talk this much." Carol's patterns had shifted to bright gold, pulsing rhythmically. "Do not apologize. Continue, please." So Arnold did. He told her about his years on the docks, about the crews he'd worked with, humans, Valorians, Valorians, even a Xanthari telepath who'd become a close friend. He talked about the small moments of beauty he'd found in space. Watching Earth rise over the lunar horizon during a cargo run, seeing a child human and alien alike laugh together in the station's common areas. The quiet pride of a job well done. Carol listened to everything, her forearms gesturing occasionally, her patterns shifting through emotions Arnold couldn't fully read but somehow understood. Hours passed. The restaurant began to empty. Arnold realized with a start that they'd been talking straight through dinner service. "I should go," he said, checking the time on his ancient wrist. "Come. You probably have other meetings, Arnold." Carol reached across the table, and one of her hands gently touched his weathered one. Her skin was warm, warmer than he'd expected, and the bioluminescence pulsed in a pattern that the translator rendered as affection. "I came to this station expecting to negotiate a simple mining contract. Instead, I have spent an evening with perhaps the most honest human I have ever met." She stood, and Arnold scrambled to his feet. "The Xylothean Concord has been debating humanity's petition for a permanent seat in the Galactic Council for 3 years," Carol said. "We have heard from your politicians, your scientists, your military leaders. They all tried to convince us of humanity's strength, your potential, your value." Her patterns blazed brilliant gold. "But you, Arnold, a simple dock worker, you showed me something none of them could. You showed me humanity's heart." Arnold's throat felt tight. "I don't understand." "The mining contract will be approved," Carol said. "But more than that, I will recommend to the Concord that humanity be granted full council status immediately, and I will propose a formal peace and partnership treaty between our species." Arnold stared at her, speechless. Carol's patterns rippled with what might have been laughter. "Your son wanted a business deal. Instead, his father may have just secured humanity's future among the stars." She touched his hand one more time. "Thank you, Arnold, for a blind date I will never forget." As Carol glided away toward her transport, Arnold stood alone at the viewport, staring out at Earth below. Somewhere down there, Marcus was probably panicking about the missed meeting. Arnold smiled and pulled out his comlink. He had quite a story to tell his son. Sometimes, he thought, the galaxy didn't need humanity's best and brightest. Sometimes it just needed someone honest, someone real, someone willing to share their truth over dinner, and sometimes, that was enough to change everything. The end.